Hello and welcome. Today we are going to take some time and journal about what we might be angry about. Anger, like every other emotion, is simply an indicator that we need to be aware of something. It's trying to communicate with us. But anger can be very toxic if we don't address it and fix the situation because it builds up inside of us. It can fully integrate into our body and it can change our mindset and really just wreak havoc with our life. So, this series of journal prompts will help you take whatever you're angry about and begin to process it, understand it, allowing you to heal it. Now, the journal prompts I'm going to give you today won't get through all of them in 10 minutes. There are quite a few, but it is an entire series that will help you over time understand the anger. So, I have them right now in the chat box. I'm going to go through each one, kind of give you a highlight of what you might expect from it. If you're watching this after the live, I have put the journal prompts in the description below so you can get them right there. So let's go ahead and dive into the first one, and that is write down what you're angry about and write a detailed description of what happened. With this, you want to get as much information on the page as possible. The goal of this process is to actually understand your anger better. And a lot of times with anger, a lot of details can be hidden. You might be angry about one thing, but there's another little aspect over here that you don't even realize has a really big impact. So one of the things you get from actually writing down the entire story is you get more nuanced information that you can then work from. Once that is done, ask yourself, what triggered you? And was it a specific event? Was it a series of events? You really want to begin to understand why you're angry. So, maybe your best friend didn't call you back and that made you really angry, and you wrote out the story of why. And when you get to, okay, what was the trigger? It might have just been the last thing in a long line of a bad day. And so, really understanding, was this specific instance the trigger, or was it a series of things that was a trigger, will have you really adjust it differently and move forward differently. From there, ask yourself, why does this anger you? So you figured out the trigger. Why is that trigger angering for you? Is it activating an old trauma? Is it confusion? Is it misunderstanding? Really understand why that trigger makes you angry. A lot of times we react to situations based on our past experiences, especially from childhood, because we, according to the 4 agreements, we make these agreements with those who are taking care of us because we don't have another option. And so those can feed into why you might be triggered about this. So if you understand why it triggers you, you have another way to approach healing from it. And then the next question is, what other feelings are associated with it? Very rarely do we have just one emotion. So there might be others surrounding it that, again, will shed even more light on it. In fact, anger is such a big emotion that it can hide other emotions that might be more relevant in actually processing it. Sometimes we'll go to anger if we're kind of at the end of our rope and we've had a lot going on. And so really understanding the other feelings that play into it can help you get to that root cause again. And then the next question that we have is, what past events may be triggering this? So I kind of already, got to that, but this one is asking you to really dig in. Are you upset at your friend because she did XYZ and that's what your ex-boyfriend used to do? And that's triggering you. That will show you what needs healed. And then the next question for you is, what do you control in the situation? A lot of times we get angry and frustrated because we have no control and we're trying to control it. And so really understanding what we do and don't have control over will help you deal with that emotion. Along those same lines, if the answer is no, you don't have control over it, ask yourself what you do influence? Is there an aspect that you might be able to give an opinion or feedback, something that will help it further along? And then our next question is, what feels like needs healed? So now you've gotten all this information from your journaling. If you look back over it, what needs healed? What needs fixed? Take that and start creating a list of what you need to heal. And finally, end with, how do I want to change this situation? Really make a game plan. You have all the information about why you're angered, why you're triggered, what you control, what you don't. Now let's create a plan to change it and move forward. So those are our journal prompts. Again, they're in the chat box. And if you're watching this later, they'll be in the description. We're going to journal for 10 minutes. I am going to turn on some ocean sounds that I recorded when I was in Florida a few years back. I'm going to play those as just kind of some little background sound. If you don't want to listen to them, go ahead and mute me, and I will see you guys in 10 minutes. Happy journaling. All right, go ahead and finish up what you're writing. Hopefully you had some really great insights. I will also in the description section put a link to a meditation that I do have to help you process anger and frustration. So if you need to kind of take that anger and process it in a different way, there's that. Another thing to keep in mind about anger is sometimes the journaling or even a meditation, when you're really angry, like something first happened, is not the first step. Your first step should be releasing that energy. So sometimes when I get really angry, I go for a walk or get in a really intense workout. Sometimes you need to vent it out first to a friend. Make sure they're okay with you doing that so that you're not breaking their emotional boundaries or anything. Asking permission to have a vent session is always welcome. If you want other ways to really process anger besides for journaling, I have an entire article on my site about how to manage your anger. I'll put the link for that in the description. So if anybody has any questions, I will go ahead and stick around for a little bit. Go ahead and pop them in the chat section. And if nobody has any questions, this is everything for today. Again, you can use this journaling process over and over to work through. It is a lot of journal prompts. And so you might do 10 minutes one day and 10 minutes the next day to really get through to what is going on. All right, it looks like we don't have any questions today, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.